Hi, I'm Alice Heiman, and I have the great pleasure of working with companies to help them increase their sales. I love what I do. I'm the founder and CEO of Alice Heiman LLC, and I'm also the co-founder of Trade Show Makeover. That's a new venture that I just launched. So I hope you'll take a look at tradeshowmakeover.com. But today, I'm here to talk with you about how you're going to get better performance out of your sales team. More or better, get what you really need from your sales team. That's the title of this talk. What I understand from the sales leaders that I talk with all over the world is that they want their sales teams to do better. They want them to perform better. They want them to hit their quotas and possibly even exceed their quotas. But it's just not happening enough of the time. Now, we give our salespeople training, we coach them, we encourage them. Of course, they get bonuses and rewards, and we're trying to get them to work together as a team to really improve their performance. But the problem is there's just a couple of things missing, and that's what I want to talk with you about today. In order to get better performance from your sales team, you have to stop pushing the more button and start pushing the better button. You see, a lot of times we think that if they just do a little bit more, if they just make a few more calls, if they just talk to a few more people, if they just send a few more emails, if they just make a few more LinkedIn connections, if they just do a little more, that's going to make the difference. That's going to hit the quota. Now, it's true that sometimes salespeople do need to do more, and you absolutely should be looking at those metrics, because if they're not doing enough to start with, you've got to at least get them going there. But sometimes doing more is not better. We need higher quality. We need perhaps for them to make 25 calls instead of 50, but those calls would be to more qualified prospects. That would be better. They would do a little more research on them. That might be better. They might have a better approach with the first words that they say to the prospect when they do get them on the phone or in the first few sentences of the email. So if they're doing 50 but not getting a result, is doing 60 going to make it any better? Probably not. Maybe we should do 25 really well. But how will we know? What is it that we really need to do as leaders in order to get better performance from our sales teams? Well, I have a simple 4-step process I want to share with you to help you get better performance from your salespeople. So number 1 is pause. So in this busy, busy world, we go, and we hear about hustle all the time. Let's hustle, let's go, let's crank it up, let's kick it up a notch. We're always going. And we don't slow down and take the time that we need sometimes to really be able to reflect on things. And so what I want you to do first is just hit the pause button. And number 2 is reflect. So if you hit the pause button for just even a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes, sometimes we want to do it for longer as well. But if you can just hit that pause button and reflect, what did I just complete? How did I do it? Did I do it well? Is there something I could change to do it better for next time? Reflect on what you've done before you move on. Because if you reflect, you have the opportunity to refine. And you refine what you've done. And if you did it perfectly, fantastic, you'll do it perfectly again. But most times we haven't done it perfectly, and we need to refine it a bit before we do it again. So then that is the 4th step, advance. We can advance in every way. We can do things better. We can do things smarter. We can advance in our careers, advance in our lives if we follow this process. And again, the process is pause, reflect, refine, and advance. Pause, reflect, refine, and advance. So let's take a look at what would that actually look like in a salesperson's day if you were coaching them. So let's say they're going to make 50 calls today. After they make their first call, they take 30 seconds to a minute. They pause before they make the next call. They reflect on how the call went, what happened, what worked well, what didn't work so well, and what they might want to do for next time. And they make that refinement. Maybe they have to talk with you about it to make that refinement. But once they've chosen what they're going to do, then they can advance to the next call and use what they've learned. Now, that's a really simple thing that you can ask any salesperson to do. Just pause after your call, reflect, refine, and then advance. Now, let's say they've done a whole day of calls. That's another great time to examine what they've done and how they've done. Pause at the end of the day. And if you're not there to ask them, have them ask themselves or have them ask a peer. How did the day go? Was it a good day? How do I feel about it? Was it not such a good day and I'm leaving kind of feeling crummy? Why? Why was it a good day? What made it a good day? Was it a good day because I made 50 dials? Well, if I made 50 dials, but I didn't talk to anybody, maybe I hit my metric on dials, but that's not a very good day when I don't actually get to talk to anyone. So pause at the end of each day and ask yourself, was it a good day? If it was, what made it a good day? What were the things that worked? What didn't work? And if there were some things that didn't work, before you leave the office, you can think about how you're going to have an even better day the next day based on what you learned from today. Now, of course, as a sales leader, you can do this yourself. Absolutely. Pause during the day to ask yourself how that activity just went, how that meeting just went. Was it a good meeting? What worked about it? What didn't work about it? And you can use these same techniques on yourself to keep improving and get better performance. So reflecting on the day is an excellent way to make sure that you understand what you're doing well and what you might need to change and to have an even better day the next day. So imagine if we paused during the day to reflect, refine, and advance. And imagine if we paused at the end of each day to do the same. Now, of course, we should pause at the end of the week as well and do the same exact thing. Pause, reflect, refine, and advance. And if we continue in this way, we will absolutely get better performance because we will know what's working and what's not. And we'll spend time talking about what's working and what's not so that we can refine it and use that as we move forward. And that's the advancement that we want. We're moving towards peak performance always. So I hope this was helpful for you in understanding how you can get what you really want and what you really need from your salespeople, which is for them to have peak performance so they can meet their goals and you can meet your goals and the company meets their goals and everyone's happy and there's lots of celebration going on. That's what we want. So remember to pause, reflect, refine, and advance. Thanks. I'm Alice Heiman. You can find me at Alice Heiman LLC or tradeshowmakeover.com.